Okay, so good day everyone. We are down in our first chapter in CBME1 or your operations management. So last meeting we already discussed our course outline, our course description in this subject, your term output, and a brief discussion of what is an operation management. Okay, so shall we proceed? Okay, let's go. So these are the learning objectives for today. Okay, so we will be introducing introduction rather in operations management or your OPMAN, the value added process, scope of operations management, and the different types of operations. Okay, so of course, and the business operations overlap. So before that, let's have a brief activity. Okay, so last week we differentiate or identify what is an operation and a project. So the question is between these two images, where is the operation and where is the project? Okay, pick your option. Okay, you have 5 seconds to choose if where is the operation and where is the project. Okay? So the answer is the first picture is your operation, correct? And the second picture is your project. Okay? We will talk about that later. Why? Okay, we have the next picture. Okay, so choose if where is the operation and the project. 5 seconds to think and write your answers. Any sheet of paper. Okay, if the wedding of Harry, Prince William rather, and Kate, and the grocery stores. Okay. Okay. For the first image, where is the wedding? That is your project. Second one in the grocery store, where the cashier is punching and so forth. That is your operation. And lastly, where is the operation here and where is the project here? Okay, is crew serving the pizza or astronaut in the moon. Okay, 5 seconds to think. Okay, so for the first image, that is your operation. And while the second one is your project. So question, why? So when we say operation, it is ongoing and repeat. Okay? The purpose of an ongoing operations is to sustain the business. So operations adopt new sets of objectives and the work continue. As the first images, the image rather, ano ba yung front office, right? Okay, that the process there is repetitive. Parating ginagawa, right? Hindi usually in hotel, in the second image sa grocery stores, that is repetitive, like ongoing processes or process. And lastly, the serving of pizza in the pizza restaurant or fast food, that is ongoing and repetitive. While for the projects, this is temporary and unique. Why? Because the purpose of project is to attain its objective and then terminate. Okay, so the first image, uh, the engineer building a building a infrastructure. Okay, if after that, terminate na yung process nila, right? Or yung objective because they already attained their objective. While for the second image, the wedding, okay, it is after the wedding, wala nang susunod na process because they already attained and the objective already terminate. And lastly, the astronaut in the moon, the objective was already attained and terminate. Okay, so that is the difference of operations. So I hope you follow the difference of operation and so let's proceed with our proper discussion. Okay, so project concludes when its specified object have been achieved. Okay, so let's proceed. What is operations management? So the management of system or processes that creates what? Goods and your services. So systematic direction, control, and evaluation of the entire range of processes that transform input into finished goods or services. So environmental factors, culture, political, and market influences, inputs HR, your capital, material, land, energy, information, and customer transformations, convert inputs into outputs, output goods or services and ways, customer contract, customers actively participate in transformation processes and self-service. Then performance feedback, repair records, customer comments, and the effects rather of operations management is to the company's ability to compete, the nation's ability to compete internationally. So operations management refers to the management of production system that transforms input into finished goods and services. So we have two ways here. And the production system, it is the way a firms acquire input, then converts and dispose. Okay, what we call our inputs pa kasi. Okay, these are our raw materials. Where are our outputs, these are our finished goods. Then for operations manager, responsible for the transformation process from inputs to outputs. Then operations management seeks to increase the quality, the efficiency, and the responsiveness of the firms. We also seek to provide a competitive edge or your competitive advantage. So we have three different concept of management. As you can see in your screen, we have the quality, efficiency, and responsiveness to customers. So quality, so goods and services that are reliable and performed correctly. So quality allows customer to receive the performance that they expect. While for efficiency, it is the amount of inputs to produce a given output. Less input requires lower costs and waste. And lastly, for responsiveness to customers, action taken to respond to customer needs, and the firm can react quickly and correctly to customer needs as they arise. And that is for our optimal concept. So we have in our organization we have three basic functions. We have the finance, we have the operations, and the marketing. So let's proceed with the value added processes. So the operations function involve the conversion of inputs into output. As we talked about a while ago, that the inputs, what we're talking about in inputs are the what? Correct, your raw materials, while the outputs are the finished goods. So as you can see in your screen, those are the commonly inputs in business or in the operation. So we have the land, the labor, the capital, and the information. Okay? Then we have the transformation conversion process. Then after that, we have your two main outputs, which are the goods and services. Of course, the transformational process needs feedback and control in order to create a good output and so that is our value added and production. So for value added is the difference between the cost of inputs and value of price of outputs. And so product packages are a combination of goods and services. Product packages can make a company more competitive. For example, when we go to a milk tea shop, okay, so ano yung mga value added kaya ni milk tea shop? Okay, yung additional pearl, pwede. Yung free pearls, pwede. What else? Packaging niya, pwede. But the commonly value added of a milk tea shop are your, you see, music nila, and your Wi-Fi. Di ba? Hindi nyo naman binabayaran yun. But they use that as a value added for their customer. So that is an example of value added. Okay, let's proceed with the goods service continue. You can see here, these are the examples of goods and services. Automobile assembly, steel making, remodeling, home remodeling, retail sales, the automobile repair. Okay, the goods there are the parts na ginamit sa repair, computer repair, the parts ulit. That is your good. Songwriting, the output itself is the good. In the service here, example of service, the retail sales, or the action of retailing, the repair in automobile, the action there, the repair, the restaurant meal, your ordering, delivering of your goods, or your order rather, then songwriting, the software development, service of songwriting, and lastly, the surgery teaching. Okay, the service given by the professional. Okay, so let's have a short activity. Okay, let's identify the IPO of each good and okay. IPO means what? IPO. Okay, correct. Input, process, and your output. Okay, so what is the input or the IPO of a food processor? When we talk about food processor, yung mga processed foods natin, or specifically, Dilata, 555 sardines. What would be the IPO of 555 sardines? Okay? IPO niya, mga inputs. Okay, we have the fish, correct? The water, correct? The sauce, the cans, okay, yung labor ng nag-aayos ng mga cans, the building itself, the equipment, okay, and so forth. Okay? Correct. So, what would be the process there? The cleaning of cans, the making of cans, the washing of fish, the cutting of fish, the cooking of fish, the packaging, the packing of uh, ano man, dyan, yung packages niya, and labeling. So those are the examples of process ng 555 sardines. And lastly, for sinabi ko ng output, the 555 sardine is your output. Okay, so next is your hospital process. This is in service industry. Okay, for example, na hospital si Mr. Acosta. Oh, gusto niya magpa-confine. So, what would be the IPO there? Papa-confine siya. Okay? So, before that, para mas malaman natin yung input niya. So, ano muna yung output? Diba? Nagpa-hospital si Mr. Acosta para magpagaling. Okay? To become healthy patient. Right? That is your output, the healthy patient. Okay, so what would be our input? Our inputs are, yes, the labor, yung si doctor, the nurse, the hospital itself, the medical supplies, the equipment there, the laboratories. Okay, those are some of the inputs in hospital process. And lastly, what would be the process here? Examination, the surgery, if ever magpapasurgery si Mr. Acosta, monitoring of the patient, medication, therapy, and so on. Those are the process in hospital process. Okay, so you get it? Good. So let's proceed the difference of manufacturing and service industry. So when we talk about manufacturing, these are the tangible. Okay, now. Service, they are act. So production of goods, these are the tangible outputs, delivery of service, an act. So service job, usually job categories of service are in government, wholesale, retailing, financial services, healthcare, personal services, business services. Yung ginagawa natin dito, kami, education. So that is an example of act-oriented. Okay, so what are the key differences? Okay, first is your customer contact, uniformity of input, labor content of jobs, uniformity of output, measurement of productivity, production and delivery, quality assurance, amount of inventory, evaluation of work, ability to patent design. Okay, so that is the key differences of both goods and services. As we can see in the image at your right side, the customer contact in goods is low. Diba? Di naman nakiki-interact si manufacturing sa mga customer natin. Usually, sa suppliers. Suppliers o yung gusto mag-supply sa kanila. Then for services, usual because in services they are acting, so they have a high interaction with the customers. Uniformity of input, high in goods and low in services. The labor content is low in goods and high in service. Uniformity of output is high in goods and low in services. The output, of course, tangible sa goods, while in services is intangible. The measurement of productivity, it is easy in goods, while for services is difficult. The opportunity to correct problem, okay? But the goods is high because kung may defect man yan, pwedeng maayos. While in service, of course, kapag when you're in parlor, nail, sugatan mo si customer, hindi naman natin maayos agad, right? Inventory, much in goods, while services, little. Valuation, easier in goods, difficult in services, patentable usually in goods, while not usual in service. So that is the key differences of goods and service. So let's proceed with the scope of operations management. So OPMAN includes forecasting, a prediction of what will happen, future, capacity planning, scheduling, managing inventories, assuring qualities, motivating employees, deciding to locate facilities, supply chain management, and more. So so the decline in manufacturing job, we have the productivity and also. Before we proceed into that, we have two main goals in the business kasi. Okay, these are the commonly goals in business. First is to generate profit or maximize profit, maximization, and to increase productivity. Kasi to achieve the maximization of profit, kailangan mo mag-increase ng productivity mo, right? To increase sale. Okay, so productivity is the increasing productivity allows company to maintain or increase their output using fewer workers. While outsourcing is some manufacturing works has been outsourced to more productive needs. So why manufacturing matters? So over 18 million workers in manufacturing jobs. Average full-time compensation about 20% higher than the average of all workers. Manufacturing workers more likely to have benefits. More than half the total R&D or research and development performed is in the manufacturing industry. And manufacturing workers in some countries earned average of $25,000 more than a year than service workers. In some countries, manufacturing job is lost an average of 2.5 service jobs are. So we have challenges of managing services. So service are often less structured than manufacturing jobs. Customer contact is higher. Worker skill levels are lower. Surveys hire many low skills, entry level workers. Employee turnover is higher. Input variability is higher. Service performance can be affected by workers' personal factors. And for Opman decision making, so models quantitative approach, analysis of trade-offs, system approach, establishing priorities and ethics. So we also have key decisions of operations manager in what Okay, the question what? So what resources, what amount, so in when it is needed, scheduled, ordered, where to work, for where work to be done, how is it designed, and lastly, who to do the work. So decision making in system design, a process of capacity, location, arrangement of departments, product and services planning, acquisition of placement of equipment. While in system operation, used in composes of personal, stories, scheduling, project management, quality assurance. Okay, when we talk about module, these are the physical, systematical, and mathematical. Okay, operational model are usually used in operation. Okay, so what are the pros and cons of so model is beneficial or beneficial rather because it is easy to use, less expensive, require users to organize, increase understanding of the problem, enable what if questions, a consistent tool of evaluation, and standardized format, power of mathematics. And the limitations of models are the quantitative information may be emphasized over qualitative. Models may be incorrectly applied and result misinterpreted. Unqualified users may not comprehend the result on how to use the model. So use of model does not guarantee good decision. Okay? So these are the quantitative approach. We have five linear programming, with techniques, inventory models, project models, statistic models. We also have the ethical issues in FS, your financial statements, balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, equity, worker safety, product safety, quality, environment, community, hiring, firing workers, closing facilities, and workers' sites. So business operations overlap because operations, marketing, or your commonly organizations have a direct relationship because marketing needs operation needs finance, marketing. So they are interlocked. So we have the operation interfaces, we have the industrial engineering, distribution, purchasing, legal, accounting, MIS, personnel, public relations, and maintenance. Okay? So we have the historical evolution of operations management and industrial revolution in 1770s, scientific management in 1911. We have the mass production, the changeable parts, the division of labor, the human resource relation management in 1920s to 60s, the decision models in 1915 and 1960s to 70s, and lastly, the influence of Japanese manufacture. Okay, so Japanese is known for their quality products, right? Kaizen, they're using Kaizen and so forth. Only that would be all and that's all for today in our chapter 1 in CBME1 or operation. So I hope you absorb all the lessons and absorb all the knowledge. So thank you everyone. See you again. Style.